My name is Sandeep Bhambani. I'm the CEO of Ryussi Technologies, and we are excited to be part of this Tech Field Day event. And we are looking forward to talk about our flagship product, MoSMB. MoSMB is our implementation of Microsoft SMB protocol. SMB, as you might well know, stands for Server Message Block, and it is Microsoft's network file share protocol. Our value proposition here is that if storage vendors incorporate MoSMB, they can expand their offering to include SMB NAS quickly and efficiently. Some of you might be wondering what MoSMB stands for. So MoSMB is obviously SMB with Mojo, but it is also the Indian name for the fruit sweet line. So it's a bit of our take on Apple Inc., the mighty company. So moving on to the next slide. I have with me Sunu Engineer, who's our CTO. He will be talking about MoSMB architecture and related aspects. I myself will give a brief background of Ryussi Technologies first, and then a little bit about MoSMB. Moving on to the next slide. So Ryussi was founded in 2012 by storage and networking veterans experienced in building career-grade and enterprise-grade systems. We started as a consulting company specializing in the areas of storage and systems software product development and consulting, actually. Over the years, we have solved several challenging problems in the areas of storage, virtualization, OpenStack, SDN, big data analytics for Fortune 500 companies and several startups. In the process, we were able to work closely with our customers and understand the real problems and opportunities that existed. We also are the creators of MoSMB. So one of the consulting projects that we had done earlier was related to SMB, and this gave us the opportunity to not only build expertise in SMB, but also made us aware of the opportunities that existed. So now that we have already built MoSMB, we have a couple of customers who are working with us, and these customers are in the areas of software-defined storage and also hyper-converged infrastructure. Moving on to the next slide. When we started building MoSMB, we had some goals in mind. One of them was to make MoSMB flexible so that it could be integrated into diverse storage stacks. We also wanted to build an advanced architecture which would meet the needs of not just the current modern storage systems, but also future storage systems. And we obviously also intended to build a rich and enterprise class feature set so that all of the different use cases of SMB could be supported. So what we have built is a lightweight ANSI SMB 2 and 3 stack, which can be ported to many different Linux variants. And it has been built completely from ground up, so there are no legacy issues. It has a highly pluggable architecture with custom interfaces to integrate into diverse storage stacks quickly and efficiently. We have an event-driven architecture and have a very low memory footprint, which helps us support high performance, high scalability, And we also have continuous availability through our witness server and persistent handles. We have built not just the core MoSMB, but also the ecosystem components, including multi-channel, SMB Direct, ODX, RVSS, active, passive, and scale-out clustering, and witness protocol, etc. So some of these components are also dependent on the storage backend, the hardware being used and the clustering infrastructure, but we have a reference implementation in place which can be adapted easily. We support SMB clients on Windows, macOS, Linux, all of the, many of the versions, especially the more recent ones. And we have a rich enterprise class.
We have a question here. Go ahead, Ray.
Sure.
So I guess a couple of questions. Is this going to work on something like VMware? And will it work in a containers environment? And I'm not sure whether containers is even pertinent here, but.
Yes, it will. Yes.
So we have containerized versions of it as well as.
Yeah, so Sunu would like to elaborate.
So this is Sunu Engineer, and we do have containerized versions of it, as well as virtual machines containing the SMB stack. In fact, most of the eval is done using these two deployments.
Okay.
What's the philosophy of actually coming up with a proprietary, license-based kind of SMB? We have Samba out there that's actually free, and then Microsoft has been doing it on their own as well. So what's the philosophy that you guys want to come up with?
What's the reasoning behind having a commercial SMB stack when we've got Samba?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so it allows for deeper integration. If we are looking for high performance, high scalability systems, then our solution would be the more suitable option.
I would say that Samba is a very large implementation, and it's a historical implementation over many years. And there are many things in modern computer science and techniques, right? And especially when you look at modern storage systems, let's say the new NVMe-based systems and things like that, I think a new architecture is needed in order to address high throughputs like 100 GB per second, etc., that these systems are capable of throwing out, especially with multi-core controllers. So what we set out to build as an internal engine is the libMoSMB, as we call it, which is extremely lightweight, extremely high performance, scalable system. You can have a large number of cores supported by this for supporting these high performance storage systems. And then we went to the next step and said that we will also support the complete Microsoft environment. You realize that even with Samba being present, you do not have all the pieces necessary to identify with or to be equal to a Microsoft SMB server implementation. That is the RVSS part, the ODX part, and so many other pieces, SQOS, RSVD, and things like that, including SMIS management support. So that's what we set out to build. And we've been building it over the last 2 years. And there are still pieces left, as you can see in our roadmap. I don't know whether we have our roadmap in this.
Not as part of this presentation, but yes.
Yeah, but that's what we are intending to build. As a quantitative example, I can just tell you that compared to Samba's code base, which most of you would be familiar with, our code base is about 120,000 lines to 130,000 lines of code.
So
that's all.
Regarding the licensing issue as well, are there licensing reasons that some enterprise companies might not use Samba?
Yes, certainly. So
yeah, the GPL issues are there, and also we offer source code license, so storage vendors can take our source code and have a deeper integration with their storage system.
And just to get the history right, there have been other implementations of the SMB stack other than Samba. In fact, most of the enterprise customers used Likewise, right, which was more lightweight compared to Samba implementation. And there have been a few other proprietary stacks which have been acquired by certain companies over the last couple of years.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions in the room? All right, let's continue.
Yeah, so moving on, like Sunu was also saying, we have a rich set of enterprise class features, and they help us support the varied SMB use cases. For example, the Microsoft Hyper-V use case, the enterprise file server use case, and many others. So the end result is that the customers who are working with us, they have been able to have an advanced SMB solution, and they have been able to do this with a dramatically decreased time to market and increased first time right chance. It would take roughly 2 years to implement SMB stack from scratch, and if they just integrate our solution, then it would happen in a small fraction of that time. So that is our main value proposition.
So the SMB Direct, does it support Rocky and iWarp, or is it?
Yeah, so currently it is implemented over Chelsea. So the first card that we have qualified is the Chelsea card, right?
So that's
and
iWarp.
we will be supporting the Rocky on Mellanox and on Cavium cards by and by. It's in our roadmap, right? We haven't even acquired the cards yet. But when we are, as a complete product, we will be supporting both Rocky and iWarp.
Are we supporting 3.1.1 already in this product? The SMB 3.1.1?
Yes. So the correct the answer is that yes, we are supporting 3.1.1. So we already have so 3.1.1 will be released in the August release of MoSMB. Now currently we have already implemented the encryption part of 3.1.1, the GCM 128, and we are just fixing some of the bugs with the negotiate context implementation. So in the August release, we will be, when we are in the Redmond Plugfest, where we intend to be, so in the middle of the year, we will have full 3.1.1 support. Actually, we do have it already, we just want to complete the testing of it.
Do you also support 2.x? SMB 2.x?
Yes, we support 2 and 3. The only thing that we don't support is SMB 1. Right, so that's one of the reasons why the stack is so lightweight.
No Yeah, no SIFs. On that note, that's one of my personal bugbears, and truly, many of the clients don't even support SIFs anymore, so that's not a surprise.
Right. So that actually concludes my part. I will actually hand it over to Sunu Engineer to continue further. He'll talk about MoSMB architecture